stirs the cauldron beneath the moon. Wisps of smoke.
Welcome back to another episode of What Are We? The Witch and the Wise Man. That's right.
What are we? Where are we? What's happening?
You realize we've lived like 6 months since the last time we recorded anything, not in real time, just in all the crap that's been going on in our lives.
Oh my God. 6 months. How about some lifetimes ago?
Now, yeah, no kidding. The funny thing was, this just popped into my head, was I was really hoping that when they put me under, and I had an operation, guys, that's what we're talking about. When they put me under, that I was going to like jump timelines. And when I woke back up, it would be more like, I don't know, 1976, when everything was cool and, people weren't being crazy and shit,
Right? Good Lord.
Didn't happen. It didn't happen. Woke up in the same damn place I left off at.
That sucks. Sorry to hear that.
Oh, but anyway, what are we doing tonight?
Well, we're going to actually talk about some of our paranormal experiences that we've had and talk about, maybe our belief systems around that, how we came to be believers as opposed to non-believers.
Right. Yeah, that we can definitely go there because the thing is, between your vast amount of experience, Tanya, guys, has been a paranormal investigator for quite some time now. I do it more as a hobby, and I got into it because I grew up when I was a senior in high school. We lived in a very heavily haunted house. And up until that point, I never believed in ghosts. That was ridiculous. That was Casper and horror movies and shit like that. But after living there and seeing what I saw there, there's no way to explain that. There's no way to write that off.
Yeah. And that's what I always say is that what separates non-believers and believers are experiences, really. And it could just be the one experience that blew your mind. And then that takes you from the non-believer side to the believer. So, and I'm never here to convince anybody of anything. It's more of like, you can't convince anybody that it's real until they've had that experience.
Right.
And then there's no convincing required, right?
Exactly. And I think that, now more and more people are becoming more open and accepting that there is stuff going on out there that we don't know and we can't see. Some of us are sensitive to it. Some of us aren't.
Exactly.
That's where a lot of that boils down to, is if you're not sensitive to that type of thing, you're going to be that person that's, come on, that's bullshit. And if you are sensitive to it, you can't talk enough to convince people sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what's so great though, because I got pictures and I got video.
Yeah, that's why I started recording it. And then the hobby turned into obsession. And then that's pretty much all I did for a couple years, 2-3 years. And now I'm kind of back to being more balanced with it, as far as it's a hobby. It's a fun thing I do, but it's not consumed my life. But it's addictive. It's like take one hit, you might go down a whole
It is. And, the thing is, it's one of those things. I want the answer, and I want the answer so bad. It doesn't scare me. It confuses me. It definitely fascinates me, but it doesn't scare me to the point of screaming and running, fleeing into the night type scared. I don't buy into most of that paranormal TV show bullshit. A lot of that is just, making a lot out of nothing, really. But
or it's just a lot of actors pretending That's the other thing. There's a lot of actors on there, and the paranormal field's starting to be under quite a bit of scrutiny right now. So because of that,
Absolutely.
because of
Yeah.
faking stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. It gives a real bad name to it.
whole field.
And the thing is, most of them, and I'm going to say most because I can't say all, I don't know all of them, but most of them that are on these TV shows that are sensationalizing this are just that. You look into their background, they're actors. They've always been actors, you know?
Yeah,
And they, I just, there's some of them just irk me to no end, you know?
yeah,
I just can't take them. I can't swallow that because
yeah,
I know what I've seen, and yeah, you know when I first started having the experiences with the paranormal, um, it was unnerving. It made you feel weird though. I wasn't scared, but it was like I had on tunnel vision. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
just hyper focused on what's going on because you're seeing one thing and your brain is going, that's not possible. That's not
right.
real. It can't do that. Yet
Yeah,
you're seeing it with your eyes, you know? And there's this
yeah,
break that happens in your consciousness to me, when that happens, that you become very tunnel vision. You don't see anything else but that, you know? And it's a weird feeling. I don't think I'm that way anymore, but when I first, was experiencing it was like
yeah, yeah. Or you get, for me, it's always that, because we're taught to be so scared of it, right? And that's what we're taught. That's what we're told, is that it's scary. And you see all these sensationalized movies about it. And then it becomes this really terrifying thing. And then when things are starting to happen, you're like, for me, I'm always checking in, like, okay, is this fear? Is this like all these things I've been told I should feel about it? Or am I actually feeling this? Is it something to actually be scared of? Or is it just me getting all excited and getting all freaked out? Like, that's the hardest part. I remember on my old paranormal team, the first time we stayed at this haunted jail called Dorchester, and it's in New Brunswick. It's Canada. And it's an old jail that has been turned into an Airbnb. So you could actually rent it, and you could rent the whole place or just a room, and we had the whole place to ourselves, and you actually sleep in the jail cells and everything like that. If you come down next time you come down, we'll see if we can go. It's a blast because you're sleeping in a jail. Even if nothing happens, it's kind of like, this is crazy.
that'd be a hoot, definitely.
Yeah, but that first time I went in there was so much buildup. There was so much like terror because you're in this pitch black in this old jail, and there was a bunch of like memorabilia around from like the World Wars because the guy who owns the place is a collector. So you had all that energy too. And so there's just so many instances of like my adrenaline and my imagination is going wild.
And that's the thing that I've always said was there's nothing more powerful than the power of suggestion.
Yeah, of your
And
mind.
right behind me, right back here, you can't see out that window, but the house is right next door. When we first got there, there was a fellow there, Mr. Ken, and he was an older guy. I can't say older guy. He was like a year older than I was, but he had terminal cancer, and he passed away about 6 or 8 months after we had moved in here. Well, that house laid empty for a long time. It was about 2 or 3 years that house was empty. Well, there was, groundhogs under the porch, and there was a possum under the back porch, and there was raccoons living in the chimney.
Yeah.
And, you see stuff like that, and you go, I bet if I got Joe Blow over here, and I told him that house was haunted with a ghost of Mr. Ken and sent him in there, something's going to happen. He's going to see something. He's going to hear something. it's, between all the wildlife that was living in the house and just saying it's haunted,
Yeah.
boom, that, immediately that throws them into that mindset and they're going to find something.
Yeah.
See, the skeptics, I understand even the skeptics in this that say, well, everything can be explained away. Yeah, a lot of it can. I
Yeah.
guarantee a lot of it can. But I've seen things that can't.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
no logical explanation. And when you get that point, that's a paranormal experience. When there's
Yeah.
no other reason or explanation.
Yeah. And I think that's like, you're right. Like there is quite a bit that can be explained, and that's the I guess the tightrope that paranormal investigators walk is being open and trying to gather evidence in an investigation, because you're called a paranormal investigator, right? So you have to investigate. You have to rule out other possibilities. And I think that's kind of where sometimes some of these, YouTubers or these TV shows, paranormal TV shows, kind of sometimes it falls to the side a little bit of like actually being an investigator and trying to rule things out. I'm an investigator. I want to rule things out. So we went on a ghost hunt when you were here, and you noticed how it was like, okay, we've got to see if it's going to, if this is same thing that's happening here is going to happen over there, because maybe it's environmental, maybe it's something here that's causing that energy. So we're going to, like, you're trying to actually, a good paranormal investigator is actually trying to prove that this is false, because then if you try to prove that this thing is happening is not false, when you're trying to prove it's false, then your evidence is a lot more believable.
And what happened, folks, is we went up to Taylorhead
Provincial Park, yeah.
Provincial Park in Nova Scotia. And we were conducting an investigation up there. Well, there was, 4 or 5 people with us that night?
There were 5, yeah.
5, yeah. So there's 5 people with us. We were sitting up on a picnic table. We had what type of meter is that?
EMF, electromagnetic, yeah.
Thank you. So we had one on one end of the table, one on the other end of the table. And we were on one end of the table, say the left side of the table. We were on the left side of the table, and we were talking to a spirit, and we were actually getting intelligent responses. Do you want us here? Beep. Are you a ghost? Whatever. And the lights, you've seen them on the paranormal shows, guys. They're the ones with the lights that go across the top and will go from nothing all the way up to green or red or
it's
whatever.
Green to red. Red is like, woo.
Yeah. Red is there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, we're in a park. There's no electronics around us anywhere. There can be absolute no interference around us anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we were asking questions, and this EMF meter that we were standing by on that end of the table, on the left end of the table, was registering. The one on the right end of the table, nothing. Sat there still all that time. This one, every time we asked a question, we would get an answer. That one, nothing. So what do? We all started talking. Well, and we decided what we're going to do is we're going to take that meter that's very active and take it down and set it down by the other end of the table by the meter that's not active. So if it's a difference in the meters, we'll be able to tell right there. And it's not something paranormal. So we went down there to the right side of the table. Everybody moved down there, and we started talking again, and both meters went off, and they not only went off, they went off in unison. Both those lights were going whop, whop, whop at the exact same time. And we just were blown away. I mean, that was just the coolest thing. And you're going to see this. We're going to put this up. In fact, I'm going to put a shortened version up in here right now. Oh, yeah, there. His? Is that what it said?
His.
His who?
Who are you talking about? Who's his? Do we have a name? Yeah, because that makes sense to me.
Did your boat sink? Did you have an accident out on the water? Are you from this area? Are you local?
And look, the EMF reader on that side has not moved hardly at all.
No.
Nothing's happened down there at all. It's right here with us. It's hanging right here and talking to us.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you able to
Because
light
that one
this
hasn't
Whoa,
moved, and this one's
whoa,
going crazy.
that's
See,
like
you
trying
are
to be-
talking to us, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you able to light this one up too?
Assault.
Assault.
I asked how.
Are you able to come over here and
Died.
light this one up for
Oh.
us?
Could you walk around the table?
Yes. Can you walk over to the table and light this one up for us, please?
Come over to this side.
Come over to this side.
Just nothing going on down there. All right, let's try this. Everybody move to this end of the table. Let's turn our attention down here. If you're here and you enjoy our company and you would like to talk to us more, could you come down here? We're going to come down to the end of this table.
It'll help us validate that
It just keeps going.
we're talking to
Yeah.
you.
Any kind of chance of. Come on over down to this side.
Jane, this is like just me being stupid. But is there any look in underneath it?
For what?
Like if there's anything there.
Are you aware I'm here?
Yes, we are, and we
Yes.
appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Oh, here we go. Thank you.
There it is.
There we go.
There it is.
Alright,
You're
that's
here.
Crazy. That's.
Are you aware
Nice.
I'm here? And then the lights
Absolutely.
light up.
Nice. Thank you for coming
so
over.
Oh my
much.
God, thank you.
so
Come
much.
on, that's nuts.
Yes, this is amazing. This is fantastic.
So we were.
You've made us all very happy. We appreciate that. Thank you.
We came over here. Thank you so much.
This light has done nothing the whole time
I know.
Yeah.
until now.
Can you make it go to red?
Thank you.
Oh man!
Thank you. You're doing so amazing. Did you get this one too?
Oh my God! Look at that!
The entire time?
All of them went off.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
I tell you, I don't know.
Are you enjoying your time that we're here?
I think that now.
Are you happy that you have somebody to talk to right now? That we're here to talk to
But the only
you?
thing.
Bam!
Yes,
Red.
you
Both of
are.
them. Both of them went red.
Yes.
Wow.
We really appreciate that you're communicating
awesome.
with us.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, that was crazy how it did that.
And we had someone with us that was like open to it, but was admittedly a skeptic. And so when those meters, when we were asking, so we use those meters as yes and no. So, like be like, green is no, red is yes. So we would say, is there a spirit here? Green, red. Is there more than one? Green for yes, red for no. So you're using those kind of things back and forth to discern, like to actually have a conversation. And when we took it to the other side beside the other meter and then they both started going off, he was like, okay, I was going to go with this is crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's such a cool experience to experience something like that.
Yeah.
It just your head goes. And the funny thing is, in this whole time, I was taking pictures. I've got a digital camera that I take every time I go out on an investigation, because it seems that this one is really, really good at picking stuff up. If there's anything out there, it'll grab it. And
Yes.
and I'll post some of those pictures here during the course of this and on our site also. But I would just take random pictures in directions. I would just turn around different directions, take a picture with this camera, not aim, not point, not nothing, just bap, 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 bap. And it was funny because there was some of them, there were like orbs everywhere. And then the next picture over, which was taken like a half a second or a second later, nothing, completely clear. I have got,
Yeah.
I bet I've got 100 pictures where there's nothing in them at all, except you can barely make out the tree line and then, tree line in the night. And that was it. But I'm taking them at the same place at the same time. And some of these pop up and there's an orb or two in there. And some of them there's
Yeah.
a lot of orbs and some of them there's nothing. Most of there's nothing. But, it was just amazing. And then what I started doing, I got a orb picture when I went on a ghost hunt at the prison here in Ohio, Mansfield Prison, and it's one of the best orbs I've ever seen. And you can see it. It's a 3-picture sequence, and the first picture you can see it just coming through the door down the hall. The next picture, it's like right in front of me. And then the third picture, and it's going away. It's going back towards the door again. And the reason I took that was I was the last one in line in our group as we were walking through the jail cells, and I kept hearing somebody walking behind me. And I kept turning around and looking because I knew there was other people in the prison at that time, other groups doing hunts, but I just kept hearing these, walking behind me, footsteps on concrete, but very light. They weren't real noisy. And I kept turning around. I thought, okay, here we go. And that's when I thought I just spun around and I went boom, 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 and took 3 pictures, one right after the other. And you can see it coming at you. Boom, it's right here. And it's far away. It is so cool.
That's awesome. I have a really cool experience where we caught orb, and it's one of the best orb footages. Definitely the best one I've ever captured, but probably one of the best ones I've ever seen because it does not look like your typical orb photo or footage. It literally looks like a bubble, like somebody blew a bubble. It's iridescent. You can see how round the shape of it is, very solid, and you can see it dance in and out. And we could share that footage. It's really cool. We were in an old farmhouse that we didn't know the history of at all. It was one of our teammates. It was like their family camp, and she just always got weird vibes there. So she wanted us to investigate. So we had no prior knowledge to what had went on in this house. And we actually got a lot of good footage there. But this particular situation with the orb, I was sitting on, it was like an old couch, and I said, I feel there's children here, there's little kids, I can feel this energy coming at me. And, we were talking about all that. And then sure enough, because often happens, children spirits are quite attracted to me. So, I could feel this young childlike energy coming in and out. And we captured that footage. It was it's one of the best orbs I've ever seen. And later found out that 2 children had died in that house. There was a house fire at a neighbor's, and they had brought the kids into the home, that particular home, and they ended up passing there. So that's the kind of stuff that you really, really makes you a believer, right? Because you don't go in, you don't know. And even our teammate at the time who, it was her family property, she didn't even know. Mm-hmm. She called and she's like, what's that? Was there kids here? Was there a history here? And then they're like, actually, blah, blah, blah happened. And we're like, whoa, that's crazy.
Okay, you died here.
Did you die in this room?
Oh my good Lord.
What's happening?
Holy shitballs, right in front of Tanya. They are not dust particles. They are not dust particles. They look like little orbs, and they were look like bubbles, like little shiny ass bubbles.
Sick. Oh, okay, they were
Was
sick.
somebody sick up in the
Well,
upstairs
I'm
room?
asking and it just went yes. Sick. Yes, sick. Again,
Oh my
great.
gosh, that's not.
Yeah, and I guess that's what kind of shaped me, because like I said, when we moved in, and this, I was 18 years old at this time. My brother is 14, 15 years old. And, my parents moved up to Northern California from Los Angeles, and they moved up this farmhouse. There was like nobody around us. We were up in the mountains in Northern California. I'm sure it's kind of like Alberta, snow peaks
Right.
year round, just beautiful,
Beautiful.
beautiful mountains. And we moved in this house, and from the time we moved in, weird shit would happen. And there's no other way to put it. And when it starts happening, you go, yeah, I might have done that. That might be me. It was like the toilet would flush by itself. When my dad was in the bathroom in the morning, the toilet would flush by itself. And he had a plumber come out and check it and cleared it. There's nothing wrong with the toilet. Why does it flush by itself? He goes, I know. I have no clue.
Yeah.
Doorknobs, the way this house was set up, when you walked in the front door, you were right in the living room. And to the left of the living room was my parents' room. To the right of the living room was my brother's room. Straight ahead was the kitchen, and the dining room was off to the right, and the washroom was off to the left. And we would be sitting in the living room at night. My brother would be in his bedroom, and the doorknob would just start shaking violently, like somebody was trying to get in, And he'd open the door and stick his head out and go, "What do you want? What are you guys doing?" And it's not us. It's just doing it. We don't know what's going on. And it was just little shit like that that just drove us crazy. I couldn't keep a pair of sunglasses. If I took a pair of sunglasses into that house, never saw them again. Never. I had to leave my sunglasses out in the car all the time because if they went in that house, they were gone. Never found them. Just weird crap. I was wrapping Christmas gifts one night, and which is really odd for me, I should say. But the main house was here, and then we had a breezeway, and then the family room, which used to be the garage. And I had my room was on the back of the garage. So my room was separate from the house by a breezeway, which was cool for somebody 18 years old. I had my
Absolutely. I was just going to say, that's sick.
own little apartment out there, and that's exactly what it was. But there was only one way in, one door to go in, okay? And I had been out there wrapping Christmas gifts for a couple of hours because I suck at it. And I started wrapping up. Where's the tape? Where's my fucking Scotch tape? And I'm looking all around the room. The room ain't that big. And it's gone. My roll of Scotch tape has disappeared. And to this day, I still don't know where it's at because we moved out of the house. Obviously, I packed all the shit up, never found that Scotch tape again. It just walked off. I mean, there was just all kinds of weird shit. You'd hear people talking at night. I'd lay there in bed and I could hear people talking and there was nobody around us.
Yeah.
Mountains forever, So, that started building that, okay, there's something else going on here. That something's not right. And, granted, take into consideration, folks, this is 1974, 75. So we didn't have cell phones and all those quick access media things that we have now. We didn't have all that then. But it progressed more and more and more and more and more. And the culmination came on a Thanksgiving. And whole family was there. All the guys were in the living room watching football, and my mother and sister are in the kitchen. I remember living room here, wall, and then the kitchen, dining room there, and washroom there. So my sister and my mother are standing in the kitchen, and they're doing whatever they're doing, washing dishes or making something or whatever. And I go walking in the kitchen from the living room. And the flower pot that sat on the dining room table, my mom always had a flower pot full of fake flowers on the dining room table, went flying from the table through the kitchen and hit the door in the washroom. That was a 35-foot toss through the house, the length of the house, and hit the door in the washroom. And my sister turned around and she looked at me, and that's when I developed that tunnel vision, because I'm going, I didn't see that. There's no fucking way I saw
Yeah.
it.
It's like cognitive dissonance. It's
That
the
could
rational and the...
Yeah, that could, I mean, my head is like scrambling right now because I can't, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
And you can't tell me it's some breeze because somebody opened the door. That motherfucker went zip. I mean,
Yeah.
flew through the kitchen. And my sister goes, "Did you see that?" Yeah. I saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I saw, but I saw it. That thing right there was the lock. I mean,
Like the defining moment.
that was
the
it. That
defining
locked me in right there as to what just happened in front of my eyes. Because you can't logically explain a 35-foot throw of a flower pot that weighs 2 pounds.
There's no logical explanation for
There
that.
is none.
No.
And
No.
to this day, my brother will talk about it. My sister won't talk about it. It terrifies her. It's the paranormal absolutely terrifies her. You want to talk UFOs, she'll talk your ear off. But
Really?
yeah. But this stuff, it just scares her to death. And I'm just the opposite, and that's why that attracted me. That's why I got pulled in, because I want to know what happened just now. That was that was the defining moment of my life. One of the high points was the thing with the EMF meters at the table out there. That was amazing. That was amazing. And that whole day was like that.
Magical.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't it?
Well, I think your whole trip, because even from like when you came, I have a spare bedroom made up, and I always call that the dream room, because anytime anybody stays in that room, they have like crazy dreams and weird shit happen to them.
Yeah. We need to talk about that.
Because my house is very haunted.
We have talked. Yes, Tanya does live in a haunted house. There is no doubt about that. And the funny thing is what she's talking about is I was in the dream room, which she didn't tell me it was the dream room at the time.
Spare room.
I really didn't have any weird dreams, so to speak. But this one particular night, I'm laying there in bed and I'm kind of dozing off. And it was July. I mean, July in Nova Scotia, you guys aren't that hot, but the window was still open. It was nice. It was a beautiful evening. All of a sudden, I heard this pop, 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 like you would be slapping wet grass with a board. And I opened my eyes. Did I just hear something? Because now I'm awake. I thought maybe I was dreaming to begin with, but now I'm awake. Did I just hear something? Pop, 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 pop. Just like that. What the hell is that? Fop, 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 fop. I went, all right, I'm getting up. And I went up and walked over to the window, and there's nothing out there. Lay back down. Pop, 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 pop. Like it's halfway down the block now. And it just stopped after that. But that was the weirdest sound. It just sounded like somebody slapping wet grass with a board. You know, that's the only way I can describe it.
And there was no creatures outside that could be associated with that.
Who would? You know, what?
Yeah.
You'd have to have a beaver in your backyard.
Well, it is Canada.
Flapping its tail. Well, a moose I would see, but you know, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was crazy.
Yeah. No, I've had quite a few experiences here. My daughters, I have 3 daughters. When they lived here, they also had some voices. We've heard you know, people call our names. One time I was in this room. This is my therapy room for my practice, and my middle daughter Brianna was upstairs, and I heard her in her voice say, "Mom, Mom." So I walk out to go upstairs because I knew she was upstairs, and we were the only 2 people home at the time. And I'm walking down the hallway, going to head up the stairs, and just then she's coming down the stairs, and she's like, "What? What?" And I'm like, "You called me." And she's like, "No, you called me. I heard you saying, 'Bree, Bree.'" So we both heard each other's names in our own voice, and we were like, "Oh my gosh." I've been standing talking to my youngest daughter, and she's been in the bedroom when we've had the door slammed, and this is winter, so everything was like, all the windows were shut, everything sealed up. We've had it just slam in between us. My youngest had, she was in the shower, and I got a frantic text from her like, "Mom, come here right now." So I went to, and by then she was already getting out of the shower. She's like, "Were you just in here?" I said, "No, I was upstairs in the bedroom." And she's like, "Somebody came into the bathroom whistling and then slapped the shower curtain on the other side." And she thought I was playing a trick on her. I was like, "No, honey, nobody was here. Nobody did that. Guaranteed." So there's been a lot of stuff happen here.
Now, I've been to your house, and I have taken a shower in your shower, and somebody walks in there and slaps that shower curtain, you're gonna have a mess to clean up.
I can just shower hose you off.
Because I'm gonna lose my shit.
Well, I think because my girls we've grown up because we're all very sensitive, like you were saying. I think it does matter if you're open and if you're sensitive. And all 3 of my girls have been. And so, like, I tell these stories and people are like, "Oh my God, I'd burn the house down." I'm like, no, but you have to understand, like, we've had paranormal experiences so much for like their whole lives that it doesn't, like, it's paranormal, but paranormal is our normal because it happens so rapid, like all the time. Like, stuff's happened this week, you know, it just does. So it's just kind of funny because, like, well, you get desensitized to it, I suppose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Right?
mean, it was, you know, when we were living in the house in Northern California, that's exactly what you did. Is like, I got to live here. We got to live together. You may piss me off at times, you know, because you kept stealing my shit. But, you know,
Stop doing that.
we got to live together. And the funny thing is, everybody in my family has a different, like, reaction because it treated everybody differently. It fascinated me. My dad was like, whatever, you know. My mom, who was extra sensitive, if you could call it that, she knew things were up, you know. I mean, she was very, I guess, open to it. She didn't like it because it fucked her stuff too, you know, but she was open to it. Never bothered my dad. Fascinated me. Upsetted my mom. Scared my sister to death, to the point today she will not look at a mirror that was hanging in my parents' house at the time because of what's on that mirror. And that's that when I was telling you about Thanksgiving, where the vase, the day progressed, dinner was ready. We all go into the dining room, right? And we're sitting in the dining room having dinner, having our Thanksgiving dinner, and we heard this kafoomp. And we get up, something fell in the living room. And we get up and we go in the living room, and my parents had this, my mother called it a picture mirror. It was, one of those great big ass mirrors that you hang over the couch. It's like
Oh, yes.
3 feet
Yeah.
wide by 2 feet,
Yeah.
huge. Well, it was hanging on the wall. And where it was hanging right below it, my parents had, now this is 1975, folks. My parents had a Curtis Mathis cabinet TV with the stereo in the top and, all that bullshit.
Look
And
at the sun coming.
yeah, we got the sun here too. Just a little bit today, though, not much.
So
But
what is that? Can I just stop you for a second? What is what is that?
Curtis
cabinet.
Mathis was a brand of television.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you had your television and your stereo was all in one big console. It was all built in together. So you had this coffin box in your living room, basically, that was about 4.5 feet long and came out about 18 inches off the wall because you had to pull the top up. The record player was inside. No tapes, no nothing, just a record player. But anyway, the mirror was hanging up above that. Okay, so when something falls off a wall, it falls straight down, correct? Called gravity. Physics right there, simple physics. Straight down. This mirror came off the wall straight out 18 to 20 inches past the console and then went face down on the living room floor. Now, the wire that held it to the wall was intact. The molly bolt that was in the wall that was holding the wire is intact. Nothing broke. Nothing fell apart. It just launched itself off the wall and onto the floor.
Did it break?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. So we picked it up, we hung it back on the wall, and in the corner, right-hand corner of the mirror in the filament are 3 scratches.
Yeesh.
You can't do that without ripping the back off of it, to get down to the silver to make the scratches. And the back was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with that. It was inside the mirror that there was 3 scratches.
Whoa.
And she
Yeah, I'd be getting rid of that mirror.
She still has that mirror to this day. It's in her garage.
Wow.
She won't look at it. It's covered up with a quilt, with one of those moving blankets. She's got it
Yeah.
covered. So,
I don't blame her.
yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was,
Mirrors are portals. Mirrors are, that's why people scry in them, right? Like scrying where you look and then you can see your face change and you can see other beings and you connect to the other side. So yeah, mirrors are not something to mess with, that's for sure. Especially an antique one that you may not know where the history of. People in different cultures will cover the mirrors when somebody's dying. They'll cover the mirrors, right? So there's definitely something to that.
yeah, it's, yeah, that was definitely wild. But, like I said, things were culminating at that point, really building up in that house. And
Did you guys ever try to call somebody in to? No,
my
it probably wasn't much back then.
dad wouldn't
Like,
have had that. No. Nah, you ain't doing that shit. Nope.
yeah, just live with it, I guess. Eh?
But I was 18 years old at the time, and this was all new to me. So, all it did was spur my curiosity, spur my interest, and I would start reading, and just reading anything I could get my hands on about the paranormal. And even to this day, it's like my my wife and I went to a bookstore one time. And we were standing there, and she's off looking at whatever she's looking at. I don't know what, you know, but I go straight to the paranormal section. You know, that's,
Right.
I just
Yeah.
go straight over there to all the paranormal and spiritual and, you know, all the crazy stuff that UFOs, whatever you want to, you know, I don't know what
Yeah.
it's all classified as paranormal or what, but I just get lost in there. But she always knew where to find me. You know, she says, when you get
That's
lost,
the same with my
you
kids
know
in
where
the
to look.
bookstore. They're like, oh, mom's in the metaphysical section.
There it is, metaphysical. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I sit there all day long, just. But
What do you feel like we're in those situations? Like, what do you think is actually happening? Do you think they're deceased loved ones? Do you think they're different entities? Do you think they're all demons playing tricks on us? Like, what's your personal theory on that?
I don't buy the demon bullshit at all.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's a great selling line for a paranormal TV show, because one in
Right.
particular that I know of, every fucking haunting is
I
a
know exactly.
entity.
Yeah.
And
Go
it
Sigmund.
kind of wore out after a while, Zach,
Yeah.
so give it up.
Yeah. Just like, oh, let me guess. It's another demon. Surprise, surprise.
Demonic entity in the house. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, if you listen to one of
oh,
the
no.
founders of you know, he's a very Jason Hawes, you know who I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's legit, and he's like, he was doing this long before it became popular,
Yeah.
and he's like, he doesn't believe any of that shit. He's like, there's not these demons running around like people think, and I totally agree with that. I don't think that they're it. I don't think I've ever come across a demonic. I've come across a nasty people, just like you would, like deceased spirits, like, you know, that were nasty people in life and probably nasty people now in death. I've come across like entities from, you know, just entities, different energetic beings, but never really something I would say is demonic. I've come across some very things that make you feel sick to your stomach. Like when we investigated the Lizzie Borden murder house, like the Lizzie Borden axe murder, there was definitely something very dark and negative in the house. I could feel it and I could sense it. And I have that physical effect when it's something really low density like that. It makes me feel really dizzy and really sick to my stomach. And you can just, even thinking about it now makes me, that type of thing. But I wouldn't necessarily say that was a demonic, but that would be closest thing I would say I've encountered to something really negative.
Because, I mean, you look, you know, like I said, the spirit in the house that we were living in treated everyone differently. It absolutely hated my little brother. I mean, hated that kid. It caused him so much hell that he was afraid to stay in the house by himself. And this is not a little kid. This is a 14, 15-year-old kid, you know?
Yeah.
He's grown. At this time, he's 200 and maybe 10 pounds. Okay, he was a lineman.
Oh, wow.
He was a lineman on the football team. This is not some little kid, you know? This is a grown man. And, you know, he's afraid to go in his house. It was just that bad for him. It would just fuck with him constantly to the point he couldn't stand it.
Wow.
It really, and he was the only one that actually saw an apparition in that house. None of us ever saw anything other than
what did he see?
Physical effects. But he was laying in bed one night, and I'm retelling his story. He was laying in bed, and he could hear a howling. Now, we live up in the mountains, so, you know, you hear howling. But he said it didn't sound like
normal
animal howling, a normal howling. He said it sounded different. And he said, at this time, I'm kind of half asleep. I'm, kind of awake, kind of asleep.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to figure out what this is. Not sure if it's my mind playing tricks or if that's what I'm actually hearing. And he said it just got worse and worse and worse. And all of a sudden, the light beside his bed went on, off, just tick tock, real fast. And that woke him up. And he said, when I woke up, now our dog, we had a toy poodle, Rusty, at that time was sleeping with him. Was in his bed with him. He said the lights went off and on like that, and then the bedspread covers just shot off the bed. He said Rusty ran over into the corner and was just shaking like a leaf. The dog was just sitting there shaking and whining. And Rick said, I looked towards my bedroom door and I saw a white nightgown. And he said, Mom? And he said it just kind of moved on, disappeared after that. And he said, I grabbed my covers and he was buried under the covers the rest of the night. He's just terrified, the kid,
Yeah.
Got up the next day. He asked my mom, he says, Mom, was that you up last night? She goes, no, I wasn't up last night. And he was telling her the story about it. She looks down and her ring is gone. We'd given her a mother's ring with all of our birthstones in it, and her ring is missing. She never took it off. Never took that ring off her finger, and it was gone. And she could not figure out where the hell she lost that ring at. And my mother was very slim. She was a very, very slim woman. I bet she didn't weigh 100 pounds, and very tall, very thin, and never did find her ring. And we got ready to move out of that house. It was a couple years after that. We got ready to move out of that house. And the living room had ambient lighting. So up around the ceiling, the lighting was in troughs. And it was neon lights in troughs, 1975. Give it ambient lighting, right? So my mom's up there cleaning out the troughs for these lights, dusting out the troughs. Guess what she found?
Ring.
A ring.
No way.
Yeah, she got her ring back, but it was up in the trough by the ceiling.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you would remember, like I'm very attached to my rings. Like my rings are very important to me because they're all, yeah, exactly. And I would know if I missed my ring and I was like, oh, I was cleaning the light fixture yesterday. I'll go look there. Like you would know that and you would remember that because, anybody who wears rings is generally pretty attached to those rings or they have stories or they're heirlooms, right? So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that, and like I said, that shaped my belief in this. Now,
I think for me, I kind of had a different journey as far as my belief systems because I am a very logical person. I really am. I was very open as a child and I had a lot of experiences as a child. I just naturally knew how to scry in mirrors and I would connect with different spirits and it was never scary for me. It was just something I knew how to do. But my mom found out and she got after me and told me I was talking to demons because I was in a very restrictive, doomsday cult upbringing. So that was definitely not an okay thing to do. So I shut my gifts down. I shut that down for a long, long time. So it wasn't until I had kids and they started to have experiences that it really made me go back in. And even so many things happened, but I kept trying to rationalize it. And it wasn't until I moved to New Brunswick when that would have been about 18 years ago. And that house was obviously haunted. I had so many things happen. And I just said, if I'm going to believe this, I need undeniable proof. I literally said that out loud. I said, I need undeniable proof that I cannot explain with my rational mind. You have to show me. And just be careful what you wish for. had my name called repeatedly. I was physically shoved. Lights would burst when I'd walk in the room. I had that thick tempered glass, like on like those glass doors on stereos and stuff where they have those old ones where it's that thick tempered glass. I've been holding that, and for no reason, it literally exploded all over me. Just music, hearing that music, that weird, like you hear talking or music constantly. And that's the house I actually saw with my eyes, not just through the peripheral where you see a little thing through the peripheral, but I came face to face to like a spirit or a shadow person. And that was face to face, absolutely no denying what I saw. I heard noises. I went down the hallway, flicked the light on, and it was right there. So I was like, I guess, yeah, I believe.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because people that know me, you know, they know my beliefs and my core beliefs, and like we talked about on the last episode, you know, I don't believe in an afterlife. You know, I don't believe in a heaven or a hell, but I do believe in dimensionality. Is that the right word? Multiple dimensions.
Yeah.
And the only way I can rationalize it is that there's a theory that past, present, and future all happen at the same time. It just depends on where you've landed on that clock. Your consciousness has hit on that clock, determines where you're at on that time scale.
Yeah.
Of time. So the way that I see it is I'm just seeing a thin spot in that veil of a different time or a different dimension that you're not privy to 24/7, but now and then you hit that thin spot and you can see through and they can see through, and they probably think you're a ghost too because you're jacking around your house.
Yeah.
It's
like that movie, The Others.
Exactly.
Nicole Kidman, yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
You know, that made sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's to me, if there was a heaven and there was a God, why didn't you go there? I mean, what are you hanging around here for?
Yeah.
I wouldn't hang around here.
Yeah. And see, like I
here, you know, I would like to
be
go
anywhere but
there.
here. See, I don't believe in hell and heaven. I don't believe that. I do believe in like multiple lives, and I do believe that people can get stuck kind of in between. You know, there's many times we've encountered spirits, and due to the course of conversating with them, you discover they don't even know that they're dead. So especially in traumatic, sudden deaths, people, you know, like these spirits don't even know that they've passed. So they're just stuck in the cycle, Groundhog Day kind of thing, right? So yeah, that's kind of, at this point, that's my belief system based on what I've experienced.
But, and this just occurred to me, what if you're sitting there telling these ghosts they're dead?
Yeah.
And it's really my theory that you're looking at a different dimension. So you're not looking at a ghost, you're looking at an actual person, and you're sitting there saying they're dead. You fucking baby people up really bad like that, you know? Somebody in another dimension is having a freaking breakdown right now because they're like, oh God, she told me I was dead. I'm not dead. You know?
Yeah, well, that's a possibility always, right? So just chalk it up to a really weird dream. Or drugs.
Really good drugs, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, it's, you know, we could go on for days.
Right.
I think about the stuff
I think about it way too much.
Yeah, yeah. I
Way too much.
I actually do. And the funny thing is, I don't watch any of those paranormal shows. I used to when they first started coming on.
Right.
I don't watch any of those things anymore. I just can't take them.
They've gotten it's too, you know what? I think when you are basing your livelihood on views, right? Like you're a YouTuber and your livelihood comes from that, your content, and how many views and how many subscribers. I think your motives are not really pure at that point anymore.
No.
Even if you're not doing it on a conscious level, it's, subconsciously you're thinking about that, right?
It's a business. They're in business. They're in a business to make money, to make ratings, generate excitement. And a good friend of mine, Ross Allison, that's all he does. That's all he's ever done his whole life is paranormal research. He's even said, look, man, you break it down, paranormal research is like 23 hours and 57 minutes of absolutely freaking nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Just to hear,
Yeah.
And, that's your prize right there. That's what you get. Now try to figure out what that is and what caused that. And he said it is probably one of the most boring jobs you could ever have. He said,
trust me, I was the one doing the YouTube channel when I was with my team. And it's like people have no clue unless you do this, how long a half-hour YouTube or 40-minute YouTube takes when you're talking investigation, because it's so like, imagine like 12, 14 hours, 16 hours of footage on different phones or different cameras. And you're like, and you miss so much.
Uh-huh.
You miss so much, even at that, because you need more, your brain starts to just kind of after a while. So you miss a lot of evidence. Honestly, I've been putting together like a little clip to do like a presentation and found evidence on the footage and been like, oh shit, I missed a complete shadow person walking across the,
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, that the sequence I was talking about from Mansfield Prison, I only thought I had that orb in 2 out of those 3 shots, but I put the shot just before that up there on my website, and I just put the challenge out there. If you can find anything in there, let me know. And this girl found it. She said, I found it. It's right here. And she circled it and sent it back to me. And I was, son of a bitch, I missed it, And so I've got 3 shots of the same orb coming in and out. But, you back now, or am I back now? We all good? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? Our time is about up anyway, Tanya, for this episode. So that was fun, man. That was a quick hour. Good God.
I knew that one was going to be easy.
Yeah.
I knew that was like, we could just talk forever about that.
All right. Well, kiddo, I'm going to let you go, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it very, very much. On behalf of the beautiful Tanya Steinborn and myself, we want to wish you a good evening, a good day, and take care of one another, man. And like Tanya always says, don't be a dick. Right?
Be a dick.
All right. Thanks, Tanya. Bye-bye, guys.
Her laughter is shadow.
Remember, you can reach either Tonya Steinborn or D.E. Riley at thewitchandwiseman@gmail.com. Also, if you prefer to watch our podcasts, you can find us on YouTube or Spotify video at The Witch and the Wiseman.